Hey, 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 this is a different episode of Building Scale, the Keymakers edition. This is the first one, so this is a huge opportunity for us to learn more and more about the industry, learn more and more about growth, how networking helps, connections, all that fun stuff. And to kick it off, I'm just going to kick it off to our guests, Teela and Mike. If you give yourself an introduction for the wonderful listeners, that would be outstanding.
Well, my name is Teela Piscitelli, and I am a part of our network. We are launching a program that I think is super exciting. What I do for a living is HR apparel, which is not always so glamorous. However, every business needs it. So any company that has one employee or more, they're going to be a good client for me. So what we decided to do was kind of get together and figure out, who do we want to network with? Who do we want in our group? Who's successful? Who's out there? Who wants to honestly be a part of our, bigger picture? Because at this point, we all know that cold calling is dead, right? So if you can put together a group of people that are all successful and know what they're doing and you can trust them, that's kind of the way that we're going. And I'll pass it over to Mike. Mike is amazing in what he does. He's been doing this for much longer than I have. When it comes to podcasts and everything else, he's a genius. So
anyway, my name's Mike Maunu. I've been growing and scaling companies for about 30 years now, from my first one in the direct sales space that we took to 9 figures a year in nutritional supplements in the 90s. And then I jumped out of that and was an early adopter into the internet. So I got started in the internet with a web hosting server company in 1997. Been working, growing, and scaling companies. The current company I have, I started in 2002. It was kind of a lifestyle brand with our over-the-counter products that are patented. And then 2 years ago, we made the decision to stop coaching companies and grow the one we had, because we now have a patent on what's called the medical food that treats 13 diseases. It's one level below a pharmaceutical drug, and it's only available through MDs. And we now have scaled that into our Department of Defense code. We're in the process of getting listed with the federal supply schedule for the VA, the DOD, the U.S. Army, and we recently acquired the exclusive rights in the United States to non-invasive thermal imaging equipment that's the most advanced in the world. We took delivery of the machine last Thursday. So I just love growing and scaling companies. I focus on my own. I met Teela a few months ago at a networking event at one of the ASU campuses. And we kind of been working together ever since, not in the same projects, but she kind of gives me ideas and feedback, and I give her ideas and feedback. And it's been a great partnership so far. She has an office here in my facility. And we're excited to share whatever we can with your listeners and guests. And I'm excited to go to the event this evening.
Yeah, that's quite the spread there. So direct sales, internet, medical, those seem very different. Do you feel that the product or service doesn't matter as much as the delivery of the strategy and execution?
I'm like, what are you talking about? Of course it does. So no, we execute on everything, right? So if it makes sense, we work together. Product isn't what we're focusing on right now, because the bigger picture is, how do we grow together, right? So you can have the best product on the planet, but if you don't have the right network, then you're probably not going to grow as fast as you want to.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback on that as well. The strategies and tactics never change, no matter the product or service that you're selling. It's all about interaction with human beings and solving their problem. So it's not about you and what you do, but how you can help them and what problem they're trying to solve. With Teela, it's in the payroll space or saving money or more efficiency or whatever. In my case, it's people that something's wrong with them, and we provide them solutions that are proven, patented. And we've been fortunate enough that we now have made inroads into the largest buyer in the whole world, which is the United States government. So,
and you have to really have.
Yeah, and you have to prove your stuff works for them.
Don't worry, you don't have to edit yourself.
No
you can
filters?
say it how you feel, Mike.
Okay, no filters.
No, but we honestly, we support each other, but also more importantly, we are all about the Keymakers. We want to be a part of a group that is willing to give us business just as much as we'd like to trust our clients with them. And we're excited to see where this goes. We're going to be very selective on probably, who we take on and who we don't, right? That's kind of part of the agreement. Just because we want to be successful.
No, that makes sense. It actually brings up a good point. Who you take on and who you choose not to. What are some of those criteria that you found, not necessarily just right now, but in general, when you look at prospects, people that you're selling to, that like not all money is per se good money, even though it's all green?
I would agree 100% with that statement, because obviously I have a little more experience in the business world than Teela, even though she's been doing what she's doing for about 20 years. Well, I'm a little older. I mean, I know only a couple years, but not much. But it's not worth the headaches and aggravation for certain to take on certain clients. That old saying that the customer's always right. No, they aren't. And a lot of times it's just not worth it. No matter how much money is involved, you have to be willing to walk away from a deal. And I think Teela's probably experienced that doing payroll and stuff, when you get clients that are so demanding and they want so much, and you give an inch and they want a mile, and they want more and they want more. And it's like, this is not worth it. So why are we doing this? And again, I want to tee back up on something that Teela said, and that is, I'm just getting exposed to this Keymakers. I was only invited last week, I guess. So I don't know Jason. I don't know the organization, but I'm excited to meet them this evening and see the value that I know they bring, because Teela's interested and she invited me, or she wouldn't have wasted my time.
Correct. And that's one of the things that's very important in this whole concept, right? Like if I invite, whoever I invite, right? If I trust Jason and I tell Mike, hey, I want you to do this, I have relationships in that market that they're going to be like, absolutely, Teela, like we trust your opinion. And that's what we're looking to accomplish, is find the right people and grow from here.
Yeah, right people is that's the trick. So we talk about the 3 pillars of scalability. It's people, process, and technology. That's the way we've seen it. Mike, I'd be interested in your thoughts on those 3 pillars, but people being crucially important to inside of an organization, but also externally, right? So it's like somebody that is a connector that's outside of the organization, or somebody that you can just take their word that like, hey, this company is good. Like this is a company that you would want to work with. Easing out some of that front end like research, or like trying to feel out like, is this going to be a good fit or not fit? This is a good explanation of like how Keymakers kind of like speeds to the end, where it's like, oh, these people have already been vetted. Like this isn't just some random CEO or random owner of a company.
Yeah, no. And we will, when we introduce someone, they're going to be a close, like we trust them, they trust us. And so I think that this relationship going forward, if we continue the way that we're doing, we're going to have a lot of success this year. 2024 is going to be a good year.
So what? So for both of your businesses, what goals do you have for the year? What are things that you're trying to get accomplished this year?
Well, he's pretty much already hit the freaking lottery. So.
It's good to hit the goal on February 6th. I'm gonna tell you, that's, maybe you aren't aware of that, Mike, but it's generally a pretty good trajectory.
Well, it's one of those overnight successes that took 20 plus years. You know what I mean? But going back to your comment, people, process, and systems, and you said technology.
Yeah.
Same difference. I learned a long time ago from one of my early mentors. I don't know if you know who Jay Abraham is. Mm-hmm. But the quickest, fastest way to grow and scale any company is partnerships. Okay. Because if I have a great product, or Teela has a great product, go find someone else that has the exact audience that you're trying to reach and target. And then all of a sudden you don't have 0 contacts, you have 100, or you have 1,000, or you have 10,000, or whatever, if you have a good product or service. Mm-hmm. So the partnership economy, been preaching that for decades. It's just so much easier to grow and scale than, like she said, cold calling is dead. Why would you do that today, especially with technology? But more so than technology, you don't need technology to get on the phone with somebody who has that same audience, which I'm assuming the organization that you guys are representing here, the contacts are there. You have to find and nurture the right ones that are in the same space or can help you and deliver as long as you are on the same page.
Right. Yeah, I think it's very important. Like, obviously, trust, right? So it takes a long time to build that trust in a partnership. What I think is unique about what we're trying to accomplish is all of us have our own connections. So if we can all walk in and bring one solid partner, we're going to do great things.
Amen.
That's very much so. I'll call myself a nerd. So we have family values. It's literally on the wall in my downstairs, and one of them is 1% better every day. So if you just get 1% or one contact or one something, if you just do that every time, you're astronomically better. Come a year out. Not all of us are Mike, where we're done with all of our goals by February 6th, but some people take the whole year to get that accomplished.
She's really putting something on my shoulders there. You know that, right?
Talk in the company. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, no, for sure. So what other? So obviously, connections, huge component to this. What are other ways? If cold calling's not the truth anymore, what are other ways to grow?
So you're asking us a lot of questions, Justin. Let me ask you a question. I mean, you
Sure.
do this for a living, right?
Sometimes.
Who thinks cold calling is working? Just curious.
No. I'm not saying that I'm a proponent of cold calling. I think all marketing works. Like, I think all of it works if done properly. Like, I think billboards can work depending on your business, right? I'm not putting up billboards because like our back end's an IT and cybersecurity company. It's not to say that no cybersecurity company has ever used a billboard. Certainly has happened. Today, is that the best use of your money? I don't think so in regards to me, but in regards to connections, that seems to be absolutely. Cold calling it's a crapshoot. Only 3% for us. Only 3% of the market's looking for IT or cybersecurity at any given time. So it's like you're just clowning a numbers game of like nonsense, and then those prospects generally aren't the best. So like I'm not a proponent of cold calling. I'm asking like, what are ways to get business that's going to be fruitful for you long term?
Well, I think our networking groups, like that's how we get business, right? Like nobody gets business unless you have a personal connection. And then I think trust on top of that, it's just a long time to build trust. And I work with a lot of health insurance brokers. Being that I'm in the payroll industry, it's a little bit difficult because, a lot of people have been doing things a certain way for a very long time. And I think that technology has changed so much. So if you can find someone that's open to change, then that's your partner, right? And getting on a podcast, these are all new things for us. Like, this is the first podcast I've ever been on. Never wanted to.
Welcome to the podcast world.
I can make a comment, but I won't.
You won't. But anyway, no, I believe in this is the way that things need to go in the future, right? We've all got to evolve and change, and paper isn't the way to go. So my technology on the payroll side, the HR, and people are outsourcing. People are getting paid way too much money, like in the HR department. Like, people can't afford it anymore. Things are changing. We're going through probably, some economic issues. If I had to guess, but I'm not, in that department. That's not my.
No, you're not an economist. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, right. But if I had to guess, we're going to be going through some issues, right? So outsourcing a lot of those things can be cheaper, and you're not worrying about turnover. So that's where I come in. Mike really understands business. He's a coach. I mean, he can speak a little bit more to that. He's done this for a long time. So having him as my backup and, officing together, I learned so much.
Well, let me go back to something you said. I've had a saying for years. It only takes one. Kind of like what you just said. Any event, any marketing, it doesn't matter. It takes one, and it takes that one right person. So are you good enough to find who that one right person is in the room? Okay. And obviously there are some advantages. The more you do it, the better you get. And that's what's most important. The other thing that I've learned over the years, it always helps to have a great product. I know some are commoditized, but if you can have a product that's differentiated from what everybody else has, you have a major advantage. So am I the best marketer in the world? I'm pretty good, but I've always made sure that I had the best product that was differentiated from anything else in the marketplace, whether it was my golf product, my health products, my thermal imaging machines that we just got from Korea that are the most advanced in the world. But so experience plays into it. I mean, you can't not have experience. Teela has, 20 years of doing this kind of work. So when I hear her talk on the phone and on calls, she is so intelligent. I'm like, damn, you know what I mean? She knows her shit. Yeah, yes, you do.
Well, what's funny is like you would never expect a blonde to be able to say.
Right, exactly. She's going,
what?
The 941s, and we need this and this tax code here, and you can't do that in California. And I'm going, wow, so she knows her product.
It's honestly about, at the end of the day, what I think Mike's about to say is trust, right? Like we trust each other. We'll introduce each other to, whatever potential clients we have. But also, like, I was talking to someone in California, they're paying monthly. Like, okay, you're worth ADP, you're worth a large corporation. They don't give a shit if you're doing things right. They're not compliant. You have to pay bi-weekly. They're like, wow, didn't even know that. So just the little things. That's why you trust your partners.
Yep. That's where the knowledge and experience comes in. It helps no matter what. Not to say a new person can't, but they need to get with somebody that maybe can mentor them a little bit on the things where they're lacking. Okay. And in organizations like you're part of, that's what I'll be looking for tonight. I mean, who's there? Is there someone I can help with what I'm doing? Teela's going to be doing the same thing. And is there someone there that could possibly help us? Now, I am a little focused right now because of the government, but we are expanding with our machines into the local marketplace here. If you don't know, we're sitting in a 19,000 square foot high-end executive medical office building on the top floor in Scottsdale at 90th and Mountain View. Okay.
All right.
So we're looking to partner with the right people that can help us and we can help them. It's got to be a win-win and a win for the customer or client as well.
No, that the triple win, I think that gets forgotten a lot. It's got to be good for all. If it's good for the goose, good for the gander. I don't know. I'm a guy that really likes sayings. I just don't remember any of them. I get the general gist of it, and then I just kind of go with it. No. So product or service, whatever you're giving to your clientele, being just above. That also allows you to not have to bid bottom. We deal with a lot of construction companies, and that's like the thing where it's like, oh, we're just got to bid low. It's like, well, no, if you give a better experience or if you give a better product, like you can increase your prices and not get like, close your doors in 6 months. That's just, it's just people understanding value. And sometimes that's difficult to say. You talked about payroll, right? It's like, that's a difficult, why is it more valuable here than somewhere else? Like we deal with this all the time too. IT, it just works or it doesn't work, and like there's no gray area for most people, and it's like, well, that's all gray area essentially is what it is.
Well, people think of service as a call center, right? Mm-hmm. And so sometimes when you think about service like that, you have to drop the price, right? And just be like, look, we're going to do this much more and we're going to do it way better. That's still a win. But if we can produce a better resolution to save them time and they can understand that, that is so more for them, so much more. To be compliant and not get a high-rise tax letter, I think that's where we want to go with this.
Yeah, that's generally a good principle to live on.
And that's what I'm saying about Teela. She knows her market and what it takes and what's required, and she conveys that to her prospects and her customers in a way that shows she cares. And that's so important because some people are, like you said earlier, they're just worried about the money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and Mike's saving a life every day. So, I mean, between the two of us, we're passionate, right? That's what you have to be. If you're passionate in what you do, and something as simple as payroll, it seems like a commodity, but it's not. It's something that you have to do. If you don't do a 941, if you don't do a 1095 or a 1094, if you don't do COBRA, if you don't do all these different things, if you don't pay people the right way, you are going to get a tax penalty, right? Whereas Mike's company is very different. He's basically acting kind of as a doctor. Like, he's contracted now with the government, where people, soldiers, are going to be taking these vitamins, and it's going to save their lives in so many different ways. So between the two of us, we're so passionate, even though it's so different.
How did you become so passionate about the thing you do? Mike, you've kind of gone through a lot of different things, even though growth was always the passion, it seems like. But how did you become passionate about, payroll and then medical devices?
He's not passionate about me. This is all about him.
No. Each individual who, like, you're more passionate about your service. He's more passionate about his. Just how did you become so passionate? Was it just like, this is my purpose, this is what I'm here for, or is it something else?
Well, I'll jump in here. So, you mean?
I was totally kidding. We're passionate about each other's business. It's great.
Great. So when I started in the health supplement space in '93 and grew that company, and then too much legislation and all kinds of BS. And then the internet came. I go, this internet thing might be something of value. So I jumped all in with that.
Good call.
Yeah, exactly. Matter of fact, my first software product was a Y2K test and fix that we sold hundreds of thousands in 1999.
That's amazing. I love that so much.
I still own that domain from 1999 or something like that. But it was like 2 years ago, because I had a digital agency. I started in 2010. I was doing business coaching, and I ran the company I have now as a lifestyle business. So I just kind of did whatever. And I have a 24-year-old son that I homeschooled since he was 10, because he would travel with me as I spoke around the country and on marketing stages and meeting all my friends in the space. And then when he was 17, he decided he wanted to follow my footprints and he created his first Facebook training program for business owners, blah, blah, blah. And then 2 years ago, he said, Dad, why are you doing everything you tell your business clients not to do? And I knew it was going to come, because I tell them, focus on one thing, one marketing platform until you get to $1 million. And then you can go to, Instagram or TikTok or whatever. I was running 3 companies. He goes, pick one. And I knew which one it was going to be, the health and wellness. Why? Because it's so important. It's so critical, because so many younger people are getting all these diseases that they don't need to get because of the information that's out there, and the products are just BS. And so we decided 2 years ago to completely focus 100%. So that's my passion, as Teela has seen, is helping people, whether it's the 80-year-old customers that have been calling me for 20 years and buying my product, or it's the new ones that are in their 20s that all of a sudden have cancer or heart disease. So my passion is helping other people with what's wrong with them. And the biggest ones out there are veterans and our soldiers. The drug companies have no answers, none. But we do.
Yeah. And to speak on that, like, it means so much to me to be, like, we're friends, right? Like, we're business partners in a sense, but we're also friends, and watching him help all these people. And I take his vitamins, and I've felt better over the last few months. Like, so having that experience with him and watching him grow as a team, I think that's what we're really excited about. Like, he's saving lives. I'm making sure IRS doesn't give you penalties. So between the two of us, we're back in shield.
It's the two absolutes in life, taxes and death, right? So you guys are handling both those.
Right. Yeah. And I'm prolonging it so they can pay more taxes.
Figure. Yeah. So it's kind of like a feeder business almost, like it makes sense to me now. That all connects. So that one, I feel like helping people, that's always, this is always astronomical or so awesome. The same thing with businesses, helping businesses, making sure that they're not in tax trouble. Huge components. I'm just a human person. I'm a people. So like I'm always like, oh, you're doing something great for human beings, and that's always awesome. So love that. I believe about M&A. This is my small research. Small research that I did about you, Mike. You'd mentioned M&A and like things that people could be doing. Is that something that you have in focus? Is that something that's not currently on the table? Is that something that you've done?
I have done it. and some of my friends are the leading guys out there that are teaching it online for the last 10, 15 years. In 2010 or 8, whenever it was, when we had the collapse because of the banking and the mortgage situation, most business owners went like this. They didn't want to spend any money. They were so afraid. The companies that succeeded and scaled and grew are the ones that said, hey, now's the time to go get the people that are afraid and capture market share. So there's a huge opportunity in the marketplace right now for people to acquire other companies, whether it's same verticals, preferably same verticals, because so many people, especially after COVID, they want to get out. They're done. They went through the employee situation. They shuttered their doors. So there's a huge opportunity out there for it. For me, I don't have the time or the energy to focus on that right now because the government will be such a big client. And we're talking just the United States Army supplying 450,000 soldiers with my product every month. And then once that feedback comes in on the success, then we got the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, the National Guard. So I'm not looking to go and merge or acquire anybody right now because I just don't have the bandwidth. But the opportunity is there for other companies to grab business right now. It's huge, and it's going to get even better in the next 6 months leading up to the election.
Yeah, that makes sense. You had mentioned your son had to tell you the thing that you tell everybody else. Why do you think you either were choosing not to focus on one or there was a blind spot there? It's always easy to work on the business and then in the business. I get like the whole concept there, but
I knew what he was going to say before he said it. But I love working with business owners. I love coaching. I can look at a business and ask a few questions and know exactly what you could do to add 6 to 7 figures a year because you're not doing certain things. And that's what I've done my whole life. But I also knew when we got the patent on our medical food that separated us from every nutritional company out there, that we had something that nobody else did. And so now it came time to focus. And so that's the reason why I said, you're right. Let's get rid of everything else. I had to give up all my clients and focus 100% because we did a crowdfunding raise right after that. And I had to fill out paper with the SEC and say, I'm 100% focused on this business. So it made me focus. And because of that, we now have our devices. We now have our contracts that we're getting ready to hopefully get signed and stuff with the VA and the DOD because I focused. Before I wasn't focused. I focused. And where energy goes, money flows or business flows. Maybe you know that saying too, something like that. So the minute we focused, everything just opened up in the last 9 months.
Yeah. And his son, can I just brag about your son?
Go ahead.
I'm sure he'll be happy to hear it.
Yes. He honestly, we just got, like you said, the new devices in and he had him up and running in an hour. He's just incredible. Without him, he's the rock of a lot of things we do. Whether it's me wanting to hang a Barbie picture in my office or
a whiteboard.
He figures it out. So Alex is great. We'd love to in fact, he'd be a good person to introduce you to at some point as well.
Yeah, no, I love meeting people in generality. So, and talking to people, I'm a fan of talking to people.
Yeah, don't make him young. He'll be 25 in May.
24-year-old kid that's going to be operating one of the biggest companies, and he has so much responsibility at his age. It's impressive.
He's got a pretty big corner office. It's pretty amazing.
Proud dad moment for sure. That's
absolutely
one of those. That's cool. This has been a lot of fun. What other big things that you have going on? Obviously, big stuff with government that's occurring, so that's the big focus here. Do you have other ambition components that are maybe not this year? Maybe it's 3 years out. Maybe it's 5 years out.
For me, you know what? I live every day just the way that it comes, right? So right. You win some, you lose some. But for Mike, I think right now, I don't want to speak for him, but
you're doing good.
I think you're going in the right direction. I was so terrified. So they put me up to the new device and it shows inflammation of breast cancer and all these things. You're so I was like, don't even put me on that. So I'm so excited for him and the new company that's going to move forward. I think it's going to be amazing. It's also scary that you can tell something
right.
so quickly.
Yeah. A big thing for me is I'll let you know really in 2 weeks. I leave Saturday. I'm going to get trained at Fort Detrick, Maryland, at the big Army base there, on the latest government Army software systems for integration for partner companies like myself, on how we take their orders, we schedule, we do blah, 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 how we get paid, how we collect the money. So I'm going to be in class for 5 days next week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's a brand new system they've just implemented. So it's scary at a certain point. I'll be there with a lot of government employees and everything else. So it'll be exciting. It just shows we're moving in the right direction. And I'll be introduced to a lot of the people that will be making decisions for contracting for our products and talking to them about the science, which they already have the information. And, maybe I'll come back with a deal.
Yeah, actually you will. But yeah, no, we're excited. We're excited to move forward, especially with our, Jason. Jason's been astronaut. He's been so great in this whole process. And I think going forward, we're all going to make a lot of money. We're all going to do really well. I think that we're all going to get along great, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited to officially meet you in person in a couple hours here. Yeah. So it'll be very exciting. If anybody wanted to get a hold of either of you, what's the best way they could do that?
Well, Mike's my bodyguard, so it's kidding. Just kidding. No, I mean, we'll Teela Piscitelli. It's not the hardest person to find. So if you want to LinkedIn me on a message, just put in Teela. I think I'm the only one at this point on LinkedIn. If you find another one, let me know. But it's pretty easy to find.
And my website's oxygen, 4 life, INC for incorporated.com.
All right. Awesome. I'll also throw that in the show notes for everybody. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the people before we say our goodbyes?
Yeah, we just want to say thank you, and I appreciate you taking the time to get to know us, and we'll have much more fun in person. This was a great opportunity, and I'm excited to move forward.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. It's a good starter.
Yep. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be to talk with you about what we're trying to do, and looking forward to meeting you and the rest of the team tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been awesome. Listeners, I hope you had such a good time as I did. A little different format today, but nonetheless, we're happy to always share the knowledge from awesome leaders like Teela and Mike. So until next time, adios.
Adios.
Bye.